Hello, and welcome back to the Ashley Beeman Show. The long-awaited Prep Diaries update is here. In this episode, I'm going to be breaking down what I have been doing over the past couple months, where I'm going, what show I'm doing next, all of the things. I know that I have been saying for months that I was going to record a podcast episode and give you guys an update on my competing journey and everything that has happened, and I really just have not, I just didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to share with you guys. And so I decided to do an Ask Me Anything about my prep, about my competition, about my journey, and all the things. And so you guys sent me questions on Facebook. You sent me questions in my broadcast channel on Instagram. If you're not inside my Instagram broadcast channel, I highly suggest getting inside of there. I share in there daily. I share my weight. I share my protocol. I share the changes that I'm making. I share the mindset shifts that are happening. I share when I'm struggling. I share the entire behind the scenes of prep inside of that broadcast channel. So if you're interested in following along on that journey, I suggest getting inside of there. I will go ahead and I will drop that link to the broadcast channel below. It's completely free. You can just jump in there and listen. Sometimes I'll do like voice notes and share things. I'll share just all the behind the scenes things that happen. And I am very, very open about everything that I go through prep. And I feel like this is not something that actually genuinely happens in the online space, because a lot of people will use their competition prep to grow their social media following. They'll use it to gain sponsorships. They'll do all of these different things. So they might not even realize that they're trying to show up quote unquote perfectly, but that's what happens. And personally, that's just like really exhausting for me. So I just like to share it all. I share the good, the bad, the ugly, the in-between inside of that broadcast channel. I do share my journey other places like my Instagram stories. I share a lot on TikTok. I've been sharing a lot more on TikTok than I did last year. And last year I did these Prep Diaries updates on the podcast. So I wanted to start this again because we are a few weeks into prep. Actually, we are about 17 weeks and 2 days out as I'm recording this right now. And so I needed to just like jump in and start somewhere. But in order to kind of catch everybody up to speed, I think that I did do an episode where I talked about this. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to dive into it now. So last year I did my second competition. I placed 6th place in that competition. I was really close to placing 5th place, which would have got me a medal. I did do a recap of that show, and there were some things that happened during that show that were kind of questionable. If you want to go listen to that, you can go back. It was probably in July that I recorded it, but you could go listen to that. After that, my reverse diet did not go as well as it did the first time. I will just say that. There were some things that I did not set myself up for success. I had a trip planned like 2 weeks after my show. And my body just kind of didn't bounce back like it did the first time. And actually, if I'm thinking about it now and I'm looking back on, why this could have happened, because not to like make myself feel bad or anything. I always say that like there's no failure, there's always feedback. So we have to get curious about why things happen and take that feedback so that we can set ourselves up for success in the next time. Well, there was definitely a couple reasons why my reverse diet wasn't the best, but one of them was because my first competition, I probably was not stage ready. Like I was not stage lean. I probably shouldn't have been getting on stage, but I did anyways. And I'm so freaking thankful that I did, because competing completely changed my life and it gave me a passion that I didn't know that I would have. And I absolutely love this sport. So if anybody tells you like, oh, you probably should push your show back, or maybe you shouldn't compete, or you need to be like, make sure that you're ready in order to get on stage. Like I call BS. Like find a really great coach that will help you prep, who will help you get on stage. And even if you don't feel like you're stage ready, do the freaking show. You're either going to find out if you love it or you hate it, and it will be a life-changing experience. So many people think that this sport is like very vain or egotistical, or all we want to do is like change our body. But for me, it's really about the relationship that I create with myself through the journey of prep. It's not just the one day or the 10 minutes on stage or the body that I have for that time or getting my makeup done or buying the suit or all of those things. It's literally going to the depths of the depths with yourself and creating this new relationship to yourself. Because honestly, like, it's kind of a lonely sport, even though it's not, because the community is like super amazing. But everything that you're doing, every meal that you eat, every walk you go on, every freaking rep that you do, like, you're doing it yourself. And so for me, that's what competing does, is it really gives me this, it really helps me to build self-trust, confidence, all of these different things. So anyways, my last reverse diet didn't go as well as my first one. And I think one of the reasons why my first reverse diet did go well is because I wasn't stage ready. And I wasn't as lean. And so my body responded really well to raising calories. My body didn't respond as well raising the calories after my second show. And plus, I think that I really wasn't being honest with how much food I was actually eating, now that I can take a step back from that and look back. So a couple months after my show, I decided that I really wanted to get serious about competing, and I really wanted to take it to the next level. I would love to go to a national show. So if you don't know, the way that it works is, first you have a regional show, which is like a local show that you go to. And when you place in one of those shows, then you're able to go to a national show. And then in a national show, if you win one of those shows, then you win your pro card. So I kind of decided over the summer, I was like, okay, I really love this sport. I really love doing this. And I would love to like set the goal of going to a national show. I've always just set the goal of beating myself, which that's always going to be the goal. Like, the only competition I have is myself. But I knew in that process that I needed to make a change. And I do believe that I've done a Q&A before and kind of touched on this, but a lot of people want the tea on why I decided to switch coaches. And honestly, there is no tea. I just knew that it was time. I knew that I needed, if I wanted to go to the next level, I needed to find somebody who was really in the industry, who understand like the minor little details that happen as far as like suit, hair, posing, just there's so many things that go into that one day, and the details that really truly do matter. And so I knew that I needed to find somebody that was going to be able to take me to the next level. And back in September, I decided to switch coaches, and I have zero regrets on my decision. No bad blood or anything with my old coach. He got me to where I was. He taught me so much about nutrition. I am so thankful for everything that we went through together. But sometimes it's just time to take that step and move on. So I signed with my new coach. At that point, I was feeling very uncomfortable in my body, and I knew that I needed to make some changes. And so at the time that I signed with her, I was like in an intuitive eating phase, and there's nothing wrong with an intuitive eating phase, but I personally wasn't feeling good about the choices that I was making. I wasn't feeling good about my body, all of these different things. So we got back to like checking boxes, and we went through a body recomp phase. I didn't lose much weight through that. If you're inside my broadcast channel, you know how that's been going. But I did completely change the way that my body looks. So some things that we did change up once I switched coaches was, the first thing is in the past, I had always been about pushing how many calories I could eat. So it was like always this game of, let's see how many calories we can eat. Let's see how many carbs we can get in, all these different things. And we're taking a little bit more of a balanced approach with this, and not really trying to go to the extremes. So we kind of lowered my calorie intake from day one. And we also changed up the way that I was training. So my old training split was 3 leg days a week. They were, I can't even remember at this point what they were, but like one was like probably glutes and hamstrings. One was probably like a full leg day, and then the other one was probably just like a glute day. But when I switched coaches, we decided to switch my training. So my training switched to 2 full leg days, 2 shoulder days, and 1 back day. And really pushing myself to failure. Before, I was probably not pushing myself to failure because I didn't understand what going to failure was. But with my new coach, she coached me along the way, and my body completely transformed. The scale barely moved, but my body looked completely different. And so we went through that phase through the holidays. And then in January, we started kind of like a mini cut. And then a couple weeks ago, we jumped into prep. So like I said, I'm about 17 weeks and 3 days out from my show. We decided to start early because we wanted me to be ready early. I was laughing because the other day I saw an old Instagram story that I made last year in prep, and I was complaining because I had all of these trips planned. And I said, somebody needs to remind me next year to not plan all of these trips through prep. Well, I actually have more trips planned through prep this year. I've already been on two trips this prep. I have another one coming up next week for a fitness and nutrition conference. And then at the beginning of May, we're going on another trip to California. And then I'm going to Vegas for my birthday in June. My birthday's not until August, but we're going to see Kenny Chesney at the Sphere. And I'm super excited about that. So I compete on August 9th and my birthday is August 5th and I'll be turning 40. So we wanted to be ready early. We wanted to get a head start. We wanted to be able to have a little bit more flexibility through these trips. And so that's why we started so early this year in prep. And also, like, my coach is still learning my body. I knew that I needed to spend some time with her beforehand before we jumped into prep so that she could start to learn my body. But even through prep, she's still learning my body. I'm still learning my body, even into my third competition prep. So we decided to, like I said, we started a little bit early. It's giving me a little bit more time to be flexible. We did do a spring break trip as a family to Utah to go play in the snow and just like have some family time. And because I did start early, I was able to take that week off and really just like enjoy myself. I did challenge myself this year to track my macros for 365 days, which means that I am tracking everything that I put into my mouth, no matter what. So if I go over on my macros, if I have a free meal, it gets tracked. Like everything is getting tracked. And the reason that I'm doing this is not just because I want to be obsessed with tracking, but I need the data. If I want to go to a national show and I really want to get serious about competing, I need to know how my body responds to different things. And it's given us so much great data. It's like amazing. I love it. So right now, currently, let's see what's happening. So currently right now I'm lifting 5 days a week. I have 70 minutes of walking as my cardio 6 days a week, and we're just cruising along. It doesn't even feel like I'm in prep. It just kind of feels like this is my life, and that's what we want, right? Like 70 minutes of walking is it's a lot, to be honest, especially when you have two kids who have all these activities, are in basketball, and you're always driving everywhere. You are running two businesses, all of the things, but it seems to be working out really great, and I found a really great groove. We started implementing refeed days into my plan last week. So actually, I should probably just dive into the questions and then kind of go into there, because I think that I will be explaining some of this in there. So one of the first questions, I have 9 questions. So one of the first questions that I got was, what made you decide to compete again and why now? I already knew last year that I wanted to compete. In fact, I actually wanted to wait an entire year in order to compete. However, when I did switch coaches and we switched up my training plan, my body changed so quickly. So I am one of the lucky ones that has really great genetics, and I can grow muscle a lot easier than a lot of people, but that doesn't mean that it's not hard, because growing muscle, if you've ever tried to grow muscle, you know what that's like. But I was able to really start to grow my shoulders and my glutes and all of the areas that I needed to grow in rather quickly. And so I didn't want to wait a whole nother year to start prep. So my original plan was to not even start prep till like June or July. But also looking at my kids' schedule, I kind of just like decided that it's easier for me to prep through the summer than it is when things are super busy and super crazy. Just because there's more free time and it's more flexible. So that's part of the reason that I wanted to do that. And also we wanted to just see where I'm at. I've never gotten feedback from a judge before. And so that's really, really important. I have like I said, the goal is to compete on August 9th. We're so far ahead of schedule right now, I have no doubt that we'll make that, but I'm really flexible with my plan too, right? Like like I was talking about at the beginning, my first show, I stepped on stage just to step on stage. This show, I don't want to step on stage until I'm ready. So if for some reason August 9th shows up and I'm not ready, I won't step on stage. I'm not going to step on stage until I'm ready. We also had the conversation of if I'm ready early, there's another show in July that I could possibly do. But we'll see, right? So everything is kind of like up in the air, but August 9th is what we're shooting for. I also have another show on September 13th that if August 9th doesn't go the way that we have planned, I'll be able to do that show too. I think by that point, I would probably be pretty burnt out with prep and need to like reverse out for a little bit. But this will give us an idea of where we can land as far as going to a national show in 2026. So those are kind of the reasons why I decided to compete again and why now. So number 2 is, how is this prep different from my previous preps? So of course, because I have a new coach, everything is pretty much different. Like my training split is different. Like I explained before, my macros are different. Like I said, we are not really trying to push as many calories and as many carbs as possible. We're kind of trying to take this like moderate approach. One of the things that's really important to me is like, I don't have a reverse like I had the last time. And so I want to be able to maintain as close to stage as possible so that my preps don't have to be this long. And part of that is taking a moderate approach rather than going to extremes with things. So one of the things that is different as far as like my nutrition goes is my protein is a lot higher, which is making me feel really, really good. And yeah, basically protein is higher, carbs are pretty moderate, fat is low. That's just like pretty general. We've been playing around with some things because the last calorie drop that we did, I started to get really hungry. And so I've been changing the way that I'm eating. I have most of my carbs like earlier in the day. I'm making sure that I'm getting my protein in each meal and then more fat through the end of the day, which has helped tremendously. But last week, we also started to implement a refeed day. So I got 100 extra carbs. I still have one free meal a week. So what we decided to do was on Wednesday, add 100 extra grams of carbs to my day. And I kind of knew that this was going to happen because I know how my body is. But I'm sure that my coach wasn't aware that this would happen. But I ended up dropping weight the next day. And then Friday, I had my free meal. And then this week we did, so today is Thursday, we did a refeed day yesterday where we added 100 grams of carbs in, and I dropped weight again this morning. So my coach messaged me when I was, right when I had finished my workout and I was sitting in the massage chair, and she's like, hey, why don't we add some more carbs in just to see how your body responds? So like I was talking about, like, it's always an experiment to see how your body responds to things. So today we added in another 50 grams of carbs. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But that's pretty much the main difference. There's not much of a difference other than my training split and just like a little bit different macros. I'm still walking for cardio, and everything like I said, it just feels like I'm living my life. It doesn't really feel like I'm in prep. Yes, there's some things that I've had to sacrifice. Like, my boys' basketball season is happening right now, and we go out to eat a lot after basketball games. So I've been bringing my food to a lot of those things. But that's nothing that I haven't experienced in the past. So what does a typical day of eating and training look like right now? So I've kind of already explained my training split to you guys. Monday I do shoulders, Tuesday I do legs, Wednesday is a back day, Thursday is shoulders again, and then Friday is legs. And sometimes I'll even move that, like, because I do Monday through Friday, I have like flexibility to move a workout to Saturday if I need to. And then I walk 6 days a week. So sometimes I'm getting in, like, Sunday will be a full rest day, but other times it's like last weekend, I think what happened was I went to, like, Friday, I think I just walked. Saturday, I did my leg day. And then Sunday, I walked again. So I wasn't getting an actual full rest day. But for the most part, we probably do want to have like one full rest day if we can get that in. But eating basically looks like in the morning, I have a protein coffee, which I might need to get rid of soon. If I keep staying like hungry, which I think we've leveled that out, but if the hunger keeps creeping up, I'm probably going to get rid of the protein coffee and just have some actual food, which I'll be so sad about, but it won't be so bad because it's getting hot here in Arizona. But I love like the morning ritual of having that protein coffee. I don't know. I'm addicted to it. So I have the protein coffee with protein and collagen, and then I will have something to eat right before I go to the gym, which is usually like some cream of rice. This is really strange, but I don't do well with oatmeal. I know that a lot of people will eat oatmeal and it sticks with them because it has the fiber and all of that. But when I eat oatmeal, my body runs through it really quickly. And so I'll be hungry in like 15 minutes. We tried that a couple days last week and it just did not work. So I switched to cream of rice. That works. Or something that I do love that works for me. I don't think it's going to work for everybody. I'm not sensitive to a lot of things. Okay. So there's this fiber brownie from Walmart. It's the Great Value brand. It is so freaking good, but that has been pretty much my go-to pre-workout meal for the longest time. I'm trying to like maybe get away from that to see if my body does respond differently to different things, but it's usually my go-to. So either cream of rice with protein in it or one of those fiber brownie bars from Walmart. They're so much better than the Fiber One bars, and they're like $4 a box. So if you need to get some extra protein in and you like brownies, I would head over to Walmart and grab those. Those are so freaking good. So I'll have that. Then I will go to the gym and get whatever workout in I have that day. And then I will come home and I will eat, and I usually have potatoes, egg whites, spinach. I've been doing some diced ham, for that meal. And then lunch is probably like a salad or something like that has a lot of volume. That's like high volume, low calorie. And then I usually do like a yogurt bowl in the afternoon before I go get the kids. And then I will do dinner is usually just like sweet potatoes, green beans, and chicken, something along those lines. It's pretty simple at this point. Sometimes I'll throw in a protein bar, but protein bars don't really sustain you. So this is what I love about doing macros and not a meal plan, is that I have the flexibility to change things when I need to change things. Otherwise, we just kind of like I stick to the same thing day in and day out. Like I'm leaving to go to Vegas on Sunday for a conference, and I love the fact that I'm tracking macros because I'm able to be flexible with my meals and stuff, and I don't have to stick to like an actual meal plan. Oh, I have it right now, protein coffee in the afternoon, and that tends to like hold me over throughout the day. So that's kind of like what a typical day of training looks like. I will either get my walk-in first thing in the morning. I got a walking pad, so I was doing that for a while, but it's been so nice out lately that I've just been walking either after I eat my breakfast or after I get my work done for the day before I go get the kids. But I do think that I had a conversation with my husband today, and I was like, hey, if you want to start walking with me in the morning, I think I'm going to start walking around 5 because it's getting lighter out and it's nice out. It's a little too hot to start walking now. It's like, I think it's 90 degrees today. So, that's what the day looks like. Okay. So how am I balancing prep with business, family, and everyday life? Here's the thing. Honestly, I actually do a lot better when I have a full schedule. So when I have a ton of free time, I tend to just like my ADHD takes over control and I don't get much done. But when I know like I have a certain schedule that I have to stick to, it just makes things a lot easier for me. I've always been like this. And even though I know this, I resist it so much. I think that's part of the ADHD part of me. But it's just like having a schedule and then just knowing what my priorities are and setting boundaries. I think that, I've talked about this before, but I do have some like non-negotiables when it comes to prep. One of them is my physical and mental health is number one. Like I'm not willing to do anything in order to win. So those things are super, super important to me. And I love the conversations that I have with my coach because we make sure that my physical and my mental health is where it needs to be. And if it's not, then we address things. We haven't really had to address much mental things really this prep. I mean, there's been a few times I think that this is normal, but there's a few times coming up like, why am I doing this? Is this even worth it? You know, those sorts of things. But I've been able to work through that. I had some hunger come up a couple weeks ago, but we switched some things around with that. I've been getting labs regularly because I actually just started on HRT for some low hormones. So we just keep track of everything. Like I give my coach all of the data. We have a very great relationship. I'm able to come to her with anything. And like, if you can't do that with your coach, I highly suggest just like finding a new coach, because they need to know all of the things. If they don't know what's going on, they can't help you. And so that was one of the commitments that I made when I started working with her, was like, I was going to be completely honest and open with everything and not fear what she was going to say back to me. And luckily she is an amazing human and it's worked out really great. But, so balancing like prep, so like my health and my mental health are a non-negotiable when it comes to prep. The other thing that I decided when I first started competing is I would not allow my goals and my prep to mess with everybody else's life. So I take responsibility for my food, my workouts, my training, everything that I need to get done I will do whatever I need to do to get that done, but it's not going to affect everybody else. Now, does that mean that there aren't times where like my kids and my husband will make exceptions for me and make things easier for me? No, they will. But like, for instance, we've gone out to eat for basketball like 3 nights so far, like in this past week, it's been 3 nights. I don't complain. I don't say anything. It's just like, I make my food, I bring it and I'm prepared and then I go. So I just stay connected to my goals and where I'm going. I make sure everybody knows what my priorities are. If I say no to things, this is why I'm saying no to things. And I set boundaries, and people either like it or they don't. And that's okay. Like, the most important things to me are my relationship with God, my kids, my husband, my business, and prepping right now. And if anything outside of that comes up, sometimes I will say no, and that's just the way it is. So, that's the answer that I have for that. It's just a decision. Balancing my prep with my life is a decision that I make. So what's been the hardest part of prep so far, and how are you getting through it? The hardest part of prep, I think, is posing, to be honest. But I have actually been really consistent with my posing, and I was consistent through my entire improvement season with posing. So I feel really good about that. But I would also say, like, 2 weeks ago, I was getting so freaking hungry. People don't talk about this either. I was going over my macros. It wasn't by much, but I was definitely going over on my carbs multiple days in a row. And so I told my coach, I was like, hey, listen, this is what's happening. This is what I'm going over. Like, I'm tracking my macros every single day, so I'm not lying about what I'm doing. And I need some help. And she went in and we just like went over all of my food. We made changes to the meal timing of what I was having in each meal. And so far that was the hardest part of prep, is like, I got so hungry and I'm like, I am still so far out and I'm so hungry. We've got to figure this out. And we did, and we worked through it. And that's how I did that. So, the next question is, have you had any mindset struggles or body image challenges during prep? No, I didn't. When I first came to my coach, I was struggling a little bit with body image, which was kind of hard to admit, because I have, if you followed my story at all, I worked really hard for about 2 years to heal my relationship to my body image, and all of those things. But I did end up gaining like 18 pounds after my show last year. And so that was a little rough. But she helped me fix that. And because we had like such an amazing body recomp phase, I feel really good with where my body was at when we started prep. Next question is, how do you stay motivated on the days when you're just not feeling it? Motivation isn't always there, and I don't try to make myself motivated. I don't follow my feelings. I just do whatever's on the checklist. One foot in front of the other. Like, I think people look for motivation all the time in order to take action, but just like consistency is my best friend. And so whether I'm motivated or not, I just do the thing. Eventually the motivation will show up. It might show up for a little bit. It might show up for a long time. It might not be there. Either way, it's just like one foot in front of the other. I know that's like probably not an answer that people want to hear, but that's just the way it is. What am I most excited and nervous about as show day gets closer? So, we are making some changes to some things. So one of the things is I'm going to be coloring my hair. I have not colored my hair since like 2018. I used to be like bleach blonde. If you've been around for that long, and I just like stopped dyeing my hair. Like, I don't know why or what happened, but then like COVID happened and it just kind of like grew out to this natural like caramel color that it is now. And we had the conversation of that doesn't really stand out on stage. And these were the minor details that I was talking about at the beginning of this episode. So I'm going to work my way back to blonde. Hopefully that stands out on stage a little bit more. And I'm a little excited and a little bit nervous about that. We are also getting a new suit. I don't know what color I'm getting yet. I'm going to go next month and try some on and see which colors work best. But everything that we're doing leading up to this show date is not, this is going to sound probably, what I look for? People are going to think that I'm crazy, basically, is what I'm going to say. Is they're going to think that, oh my gosh, I can't believe that she's doing this because of this sport. But it is what it is, and I love it. So everything that we're doing leading up to stage is because I have the goal of going to nationals. So the color of my suit, it's not the color, it's not like I'm going to pick out this color. Like my suit color was the color that I wanted the last 2 shows. I loved that color. It was the color that stood out to me, but I'm going to pick the color that looks the best on me. The hair is going to be the hair that looks best on me. My makeup, it's going to be whatever looks best on me. Whatever they are looking for is what we are going to be doing. So that's like the excitement and the nervousness about that. Other than that, I don't really have any nerves. I feel really good about getting on stage. Like I used to have that stage fright. That's not really there anymore. I think I've kind of worked through that and just like nailing down my posing and my walk. That was something that I didn't really practice a lot the last couple times was my walk. If you've been watching my Instagram stories, you know that like I've been wearing my heels while I'm cooking dinner because I'm just wearing them everywhere so I can get that walk down. Okay, and the last question that I have before we wrap up this is, when you're in a calorie deficit and you're still hungry but already hit your targets for the day, do you still push through or eat? So I kind of touched on that in one of the other questions. So in prep, no. Like you kind of got to work through that hunger. Now, with me saying that, I also told you a couple of weeks ago, I was going over on my macros. It wasn't by much. It was like by 30 grams of carbs here and there. It was just like a little snack to hold me over. But this is where you start talking to your coach and telling her, through a calorie deficit, you're going to be hungry. You got to learn to deal with that hunger a little bit. And you got to realize that you're not going to die from a craving. You're not going to die from hunger. Now, you shouldn't be like passing out because you're so hungry. But hunger is part of prep. Hunger is part of a calorie deficit. So learning to kind of deal with that. And this is where I was talking about that relationship with yourself really, really grows. But in prep, if I've already eaten all of my calories, that's it. I don't get more calories. I don't get to just like do it like anything else. I will drink a lot of water. I will like sparkling water, diet soda, those sorts of things will hold you over. But this is why we really looked at my meal timing and try to make it so that you can stay fuller throughout the day and longer. Staying busy, obviously that really helps. If I'm kind of like laying around doing nothing, that you start to get really hungry, or like I'm not really a food focused person, and I think that has to deal with the fact that I really healed my relationship with food before I even started this journey, which I would highly recommend doing. But basically you gotta push through it. That's just like part of prep. So that's my update so far on where we're at with this prep. I'll be doing like a monthly update on the podcast of how things are going. But right now, I remember what I was going to say. So if you go to my Instagram, there's actually a post somewhere. You'll probably have to scroll down. I think it was last week. It might've been last week when I took my check-in photos. I'm always like comparing, right? I'm like, I need to go back and look at last year's check-in photos. Well, I compared my like 2 dates out from show to last week, which I would have been 18 weeks out from show. And the crazy thing is I almost look the same. I weigh completely different. Like, like last week I was like 137 pounds. And then the picture before show date, I was 122 pounds. So it's just crazy to see that like my body transform, where I grew the muscle and things that are changing, and the fact that I've pretty much already beat my physique for my show last year. And so that's really exciting. I know one of the questions was what am I most excited about? I'm excited to see what we've created over the past couple months, because every rep, every bite of food, all of the things count. And that's just like exciting to peel back the layers and see what's underneath. I will say I am a little nervous for people to start commenting on things because that will happen a lot. Like everybody will have an opinion about what you're doing, or they're telling you that you're small enough already and all of these different things. And so that's when the blinders have to come on, the boundaries, and just be like, just say, okay, thank you for the advice. And then just kind of like go on with your day. But anyways, that's what I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have questions for me and you want me to answer them on the next prep update, send me a message and I will I will answer them in the next episode. If you want to join that broadcast channel, join that broadcast channel. I would love for you to be a part of it and just like be a part of the experience. I love to share all of the things in there. So, all right. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.